All right. Hello, everybody. It's Jason back again. And today we've got Vladimir Novik from Hasura, who is going to teach us how to build a real-time web app, which I'm super excited to try. I've looked at Hasura. I've always liked real-time stuff. I don't know if, like, fun trivia fact, I actually wrote a book about real-time web apps way back in the day. So this is going to be kind of like a fun little trip down memory lane for me, digging back into this. So Vladimir, do you want to kind of give an overview of who you are
Yeah,
and what we're going to talk about today?
yeah, sure. Yeah, first of all, hi everyone. Thanks, Jason, for introducing me. So yeah, I'm doing I'm developer advocate at Hasura. I'm doing like lots of stuff in web, mobile, VR, AR, and IoT fields. And yeah, I usually like to joke that I probably need to add AI and blockchain to be on top of buzzwords or something. Yeah. Yeah, and today we will totally gonna build like a real time app with Gatsby and Hasura, and yeah, I think we'll manage to do something pretty neat in this. How much time we have? An hour and a half,
Yeah,
something
we
like that,
got
right?
about 90 minutes. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, cool.
so cool. Let's dive right in, I
Yeah.
guess. How do I start? I assume I click get started.
No, actually not what get started will lead you to docs, but
Okay.
let me give like a brief overview about Hasura in general, right?
Sure.
So what Hasura basically is, it's free and open source engine that gives you a real-time GraphQL API on top of Postgres, which is a nice thing. It's like it's written here on the website is on top of Postgres,
Okay.
but it's also on top of Postgres extensions, and it's not necessarily like a new database. You can put it on existing database, and you will have all GraphQL API automatically generated for you.
Okay.
So it's a pretty nice thing. And even like if you have, let's say, Firebase or MongoDB, you can use a bunch of tooling we have to convert from NoSQL database to Postgres, running migrations.
Okay.
So I have lots of features, and I actually streamed I think 2 weeks ago like the overview of capabilities and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, so the idea for today basically is we will create right now we'll create the GraphQL API.
Oh,
We will create some kind of like blog post CMS, something like that.
okay.
And then we will create front end with Gatsby and connect everything. We have real time updates in the app. So to get started, just scroll up. Yeah, so you have a Heroku free tier. Get started with Heroku free tier. It's just the easiest way to get started. And you have, if you go like down, you will have deploy to Heroku. So you just need to click deploy to Heroku, and yeah, you need to log in.
Okay. Let's see if I remember.
Yeah, I think you need to like remove it from the view or something like that, or passwords and stuff.
Yeah, I think I have. I think I can just kind of copy paste this. Let me.
Ah, okay,
Uh, yeah, here we go. All right. Um,
that works.
so let's get in here.
Okay, so basically, what it does, if you notice in the URL, there will be a Heroku schema that is passed to Heroku dashboard, so you can create the Hasura Gatsby already exists, so you need to change app name to something different, like add demo or something. Yeah,
Okay.
and it automatically adds Heroku Postgres add-on. So now if you click on deploy app,
Nice.
it will be, I think it's like one of the fastest deployments of Heroku I've seen so far. So I think it's already ready. If you scroll down,
Oh wow. I didn't even realize that was happening. Okay.
yeah, it's already happening, and you see it's already there. So you can click on Manage App or
Okay.
on View App. So Manage App will bring you to Heroku dashboard. You can go through settings and all the like Heroku stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can go into Open Up. If you go to Open Up here, it will actually bring you to Hasura console.
Okay.
where you will be able to create basically your data in Postgres and get auto-generated API and everything.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I think it's deployed, but it's...
Let's see. Yeah, it shows.
I check the activity. I think it's live if you get it right. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the console, right? And it has like 4 tabs for 4 major sections. So right now we're in the graphical section, which is like pretty familiar to everyone who used GraphQL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually graphical on steroids. So it has regular graphical capabilities, so you can have kind of in-browser IDE for your graphical queries.
Okay.
And if you, for example, click on docs on the right, yeah, in the graphical, and inside the query root, you will see nothing because you don't actually have any data, right? We haven't
Right.
created any schema or anything. So let's actually do that. So you can go to Data tab,
Okay.
and here is where you basically start creating stuff. So let's create a table, name it posts,
Okay.
and we'll have ID. Just name it as ID, and you can select UID.
Okay.
Yeah, and you see in an example on the right field, you have like gen random UID. It's a helper function. You basically, if you write this down as a function,
Uh-huh.
so you do like gen underscore random underscore UID. Just write it down.
And do I call it as a function?
Yeah, it's a function. So it will
Okay.
generate all like unique identifiers.
Okay.
Now we'll have, let's say, a title, and will be of type text.
It doesn't need a
And
default. And
we'll
that.
have content,
Okay.
also will be a type of text. And I think we also need some kind of user, right? So let's create a user ID. Let's write it down as user ID. And it will have type of unique identifier. And we won't generate that because it
Right.
will be in a different table, right? So you need to select the primary key.
And that's
And then,
what we'd want, right?
yeah, we want only ID. And then if you click on add table,
Okay.
it will not only create this table, it will also, yeah, so it's created. You can browse rows, insert rows, just like a regular like PHP admin or PG admin type of UI. If you go to graphical, you see you already have queries and mutations and everything.
Ah, cool. That's very cool.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and you have like not
mutations.
only if you click on like query or mutation, you see it's not only just like plain queries and mutations. They also have like additional things such as like distinct and
Mm-hmm.
offset, and you can actually add where clauses for being able to like query or like filtering stuff and getting like aggregations with like sum and count and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can you talk to me a little bit about what an aggregate is? Because I'm not familiar with this
Yeah.
term.
Yeah, so if you click on aggregate, so the output type, yeah, so you'll have nodes, which is basically your data, and aggregate will have count, maximum, minimum. That's the
Okay.
main idea. So
And so
if
that
you want to count stuff and just get it from the query, you'll be able to do that right
and
from
so you mean
this
like
query.
if I'm trying to find the like all posts tagged with a thing or like all posts by a given author, I would use an aggregate query, or what I
No, it's
would.
mostly if you want to like get like the maximum amount of post with some like where clause. So
Okay.
you want to get maximum post of specific author or something like that. Yeah, then you will use aggregate.
Okay. And
Uh,
then
and this is post by primary key. So if you, it's basically querying specific post. So if I want to get data
gotcha.
from
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Very cool. So then
So,
we.
so now So now, if you go to, yeah, get back to graphical.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, what just happened? Can you reload it for a second? Okay. I think you accidentally deleted the table or something. You go to data.
Oh, how would I have done that?
Yeah, that's weird.
Okay, I guess we'll do it again real
Yeah,
quick.
okay, let's create it again.
All right, so that's UUID, and that's going to be
Yeah,
gen random UUID. We're going to do a title, which is text, and a
and content.
content, which was text, and author ID. And that was a UUID. And
Yeah,
then we'll make this an
and
ID.
primary key.
Okay, so that should give us our table.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So right now, let's create another table, and let's call
Okay,
it. Yeah, we click
add
on that
table.
table.
Got it.
Yeah, and then it will be like authors or something.
Okay.
Um, yeah, right now it will be also like ID, unique identifier, and let's say we'll have I don't know, like name, first name, like first name, last name, or maybe avatar URL or something. Oh, let's just
Um,
keep it with the name.
yeah,
That's it.
let's just do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to change that first name and the last name, and I think we can probably call that good. We'll index it on the UUID. Gen random. Oh, that's my fault.
gen random.
Okay, so now we have
Yeah.
author and
Okay. So now
posts.
it's created. Now the interesting part, if you go to graphical tab, for example,
Okay.
and if you try to go to query, for example, right? Or just query things, and yeah, you'll have authors created. But if you will go into like posts output,
Okay.
you'll see that we have author ID, which is kind of contradicts what we are used to in GraphQL, right? We want to get the authors and everything, right?
Sure.
So that's because we need to set relationships between two tables, right?
Okay.
So let's go to data and go to posts.
Posts.
Yeah. Modify.
Modify.
Yeah. Now, if we click on edit author ID, we need to change, basically add the foreign key. So it's
Foreign
way
key.
down. Yeah. And you reference
Authors.
authors table and ID.
Okay.
So if you click save, it will actually suggest to create a relationship. So you click on add relationship. And if you like miss that, it's in relationship tab. So right now it suggests how it will be named in GraphQL response, right? So we will name it author. So you just click on add
Okay.
and let's name it just author. So right now, if you go to graphical tab, for example, and see the output of posts, you will see author there. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that's how, and you can actually, if you go to authors, for example, it will suggest you to add. No, if you go to data
Oh, I get you.
and authors, and really just click on relationships, it will suggest you an array of relationships because you want, for example, you want to get all posts for an author, so
Okay.
you want to connect it from there. So you can name it posts, and now from the authors query, you will be able to get all author posts.
Well, that's pretty slick. Okay. So, oh yeah, and then I just do the same thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um,
So
so now what? Should we add some
so
posts or?
so what we wanna add like additional stuff. We want to add comments, right?
That's
So
right.
the main idea will have posts populated on Gatsby build, right? And
Right.
we want subscriptions to be for comments.
Okay.
So let's create comments with ID, and we will actually have another field post ID for every comment.
Okay.
and we'll have author ID, right?
Um, should we do we want to make it that complex, or should we just have like an arbitrary text field?
We can. You mean just doing it without? Yeah, let's do it just without authors.
Okay, yeah, we'll
Let's
just
just
we'll just do that.
comment.
'Cause I think otherwise there's a couple relationships that'll be a pain. Um, so
It's actually not that complex because you're able to primary key is still ID. Actually, let's do with an author because it's pretty simple to do it from the UI here.
okay, and
So
we're gonna do it with an author ID?
yeah.
Okay,
So right now, if you click, you can remove it later on. So if we'll see, it will take time to do it.
okay.
We'll just remove it later on.
And then now that I'm in here, I'm gonna add relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe I can do it
yeah.
like this
Modify
instead.
and then add the foreign key.
ID. Let's add the relationship.
Yeah, we'll
Author.
name author.
Okay. And then if I go back to modify, I can do the post. Oops.
Yeah,
And we'll do a foreign key for the post. Oh, did we not add the post ID? Oh no, that's my bad.
yeah. The post
I'm
ID.
I I'm just confused. I thought we were looking at the comment table there for a second. Okay, so then we've got posts. Or this would just be post, yeah? Because it's just the one.
Yeah, it's just post because it's object relationship.
Okay. And then
Okay, I think it will be fine. So let's add actually a new post. So the thing is, we need to provide the user ID, right? So like mutation that we need to do is insert post. Now we will insert both posts and authors in the same mutation actually.
okay.
So we add objects,
Okay.
and it will be like an array objects that we can add. Yeah, and inside, if you open, yeah,
So I'm
it
just
will be
gonna
easier.
look at this along the way here. So we've got
Yeah,
an author.
you forgot the curly braces.
Oh, yep. Got it. So we're gonna do an author and
Yeah, so the author will be a little bit different. So if it's an input type with data, so you need to provide it data because we want to actually create two entries in the same mutation, right? We want to create post and we want to create user ID and connect them in just one single mutation.
okay.
So right now, for author, we need to add name, I guess. What was for the author?
Is it
We
gonna
had,
is it gonna let me do that? It looks like it doesn't
yeah.
have the
Wait.
am I missing things?
I think, have we added name, first name to the authors table?
I could have sworn we did, but
I just got to modify.
did it dump that table again?
That's weird.
Okay, is it doing what we want it to do? ID post. Yeah, it's like not saving
Yeah.
everything. Because we've lost
Yeah.
our.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so
weird. The first time it happens, and actually we haven't like any release or something.
yeah. Okay,
Uh,
so this is right.
okay, this is right. No, actually, it's not a tile; it's title.
Okay. So that's probably just a typo on my part. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
But the comments table
Comments is
dumped.
fine.
Well, it dumped its content. So let's save that.
I
Hello?
think just reload that. Just reload the UI maybe.
Okay, reloading. Let me do a hard refresh,
Okay.
make sure that we get everything. Okay, so we've got ID, post ID,
Yeah.
author ID. We've got on the
Yeah.
post,
Title.
it didn't save my typo fix for some reason, so let's save. Okay, so it says it was modified. Let me
Okay.
hard refresh again, make sure that's still there. All right.
Yeah. I think it might happen because we're switching tabs fast.
Okay.
Maybe because like before, like we changed the date, we got to graphical, it hadn't saved yet, and yeah, that might be the case. Actually.
Okay. So column modified, and now we
But
need to
yeah,
add
let's add first name
first name, last
and last name.
name, column added. Okay.
Okay.
Do the hard refresh.
Yeah, let's.
Make sure everything's still there. Okay, so it looks like it's holding
Yeah,
on to our
I
changes
think
now.
it was just switching tabs fast or something.
Okay, all right, cool. So let's,
Because we created, yeah, I think because we created first name, last name, and then we switched to graphical or something.
okay,
Well, when you add the table, you will see like a red bar on the top of the UI, and it's basically like the creation thing. So if
okay,
we probably if we switch in the middle of that it won't save everything.
okay. So
Yeah, so
here,
we insert post. We also need to add objects like we added author, but we need to add an like a title and content, right, for the post. So let's add that too. No, it's in the same object as author.
like
Yeah,
here,
here.
like the,
Yeah,
title
yeah,
and new post and content. Did it not save our content again?
yeah. No, the content added just for the comments.
Doesn't our post have? Yeah, our post seems to have dumped its content again. Okay, let's save this so that we can get some
Hmm.
content, and
Yeah, and
then
then we need to return something. So we have returning or affected roles. Let's return an ID and author ID.
okay, so we can run that. Field name, first name, not found in author's insert input.
First name.
Insert posts.
I mean, these things
Author.
happens only with live coding, right?
Yeah, that's
No, it's here. It's supposed to be
okay.
here.
First name. Did I spell anything wrong? First name and last name. All right,
Yeah.
let's try that one more time. No, all right, I'm gonna save this. Let's refresh the page. Look at it again. Oh, it fixed it for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? It might be because of the naming if I think about that. No, it's the same.
Field title is not
Field
found
title.
in. It dumped that typo again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's try this again. Okay.
Okay.
So it at least at this point has saved something. So let's go back in here and let's look again. Yeah, it keeps dumping.
Yeah.
Let's do title. Save that again.
It's weird why it keeps doing that. Let's try for a second.
Sure. What?
Let me try that. Okay. It happens to me too, and
Yeah, let me see if is it doing anything? Like maybe I'm getting a bunch of errors or something. Okay, so nothing's changed there. Do I have logs?
So I'm trying to do like the same.
Build logs. Don't need those. I guess I'd have to add full-on logs to see if something's happening, but let's see. So we've got, it has now had some time to think. Let's refresh this and see if it kept it. It says it kept it.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's messing with us.
Yeah, I think something is weird happening with the Heroku when we set it up first.
Yeah, it also looks like somebody's just in here playing too, because we've got an open endpoint. So maybe we should secure this first.
Yeah. Actually, it might be the case, by the way. So yeah, click on secure endpoint.
Okay.
And then you have for Heroku.
For Heroku.
Yeah, you need to basically add Hasura GraphQL admin secret. So just like copy paste some kind of secret into.
Okay. Let me pull this
here,
off screen.
go to settings.
All
go
right.
to settings there. You can actually show that before like pasting the actual secret.
Okay, yeah, that's probably a good call. Okay, so what I did is I went into settings here, and I'm adding this, and then I'm going to put a value in here, and it's going to be a secret that nobody can see. So let's do something that I'm going to, okay. So I have added it now, and it's hidden. And then now that I've got it, setting this environment will automatically restart the dyno, which means it should be starting now.
Yeah, now you can refresh there. And no, not here, the actual console.
Shouldn't it have restarted though?
No, if you basically restart the console right now, no.
Oh, okay.
Just go back.
Okay, let's open the app.
Yeah, just open up. And we'll ask you for a secret.
And is this going to be, I'm just going to move this off screen just in case. Okay, it did in fact work. So let me drop this in here. All right, so now, hopefully, this is going to stop playing around. Okay, so let's go back in here and look.
In any case, I'm already kind of created the same thing.
Okay, so we've got authors.
Nice. First name is secure your endpoint.
Yeah. Post ID, author ID, content. Yeah. And here we've got ID, title, author ID, and content. Okay, so hopefully after this, it'll stop. It'll stop messing around. So let's.
This one we actually don't need the secure endpoint thing, so we just can draw this table.
Okay, so let's drop this table.
Yeah, we're going to modify.
Which I will modify.
We have delete table.
Delete table. Then okay, all right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for teaching us a lesson, viewers of Twitch. So okay, let's go back in here, and then maybe what we can do is let's modify this author, and so we'll do mutation, modify or update author.
Yeah.
And that's going to be where.
That.
ID.
Yeah, it can be where, and that can be set where with ID.
Oh, is it like an equals kind of thing?
Yeah, okay. It's an object and then equals.
Equals.
Underscore equals and then ID.
Okay, and we want the. Oh, I need to change it up here.
You actually set it with something. Yeah. So underscore set.
Set. First name to Vladimir. Last name to Novik, and we're going to returning.
Effective. Yeah, we can return an ID or something.
Yeah. All right, and let's return the first name to make sure that it takes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that works. Yeah, I think it was because like a bunch of people tried to play around.
Well, that's what we
Actually,
get. We
the problem because like that's why you need to secure endpoint first thing, right? Because if lots of people trying to get into the console, even at least another person tries to get into a console, and you do like both of you do stuff on the database.
mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's what you get. Secure
Yeah.
your endpoint as a table.
All right. So lesson learned. Okay. So
Yeah.
we've got. I think at this point we just have an author. We don't have any comments. We have
Yeah, we have only
one
posts. Let's
post.
create a comment. Actually, let's subscribe to comments creation. Actually, let's see how subscriptions work.
Okay. So I'm going to subscribe to comments
Comments.
and I
Yeah,
like
just
the
for content.
okay. And
Yeah.
do I like
I think the best way is like to open a different tab with the same console and show them like if you can show like two of them on like
okay, let's
split
see if I can
screen.
do this. I have like a kind of a goofy setup for the live stream where
Okay.
my window is very small. So let me take this and then we'll go over here and I'll make um, this one smaller. Okay. Nope, come on. This one and this one. Okay. So
Okay, nice.
that should give us the ability to, let's do mutation and
And we have insert comments.
insert comments.
Let's set the content.
Okay, and the content is, this is a comment.
But we actually need a user ID and post ID
Okay, so we can get those from,
from data.
all right, let me grab over here. And I'm going to go to the author. Okay, so go back here. We will set this one. And then we're going to set this on a post. So we'll go back again and get this post ID. Nope.
No,
This
it's
post
enough.
ID.
Yeah, it's fine.
And come out here. And when we
And you
play
need to
this,
return something. Yeah.
when we play this, what should happen is this should show us a comment.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Nice. It's working.
Yeah, nice and
So that's basically what we want to add as a real-time data in our Gatsby front end, right? Yeah, so I guess let's set up Gatsby and connect it to.
so. One quick question here that came in through the chat is why is because asks, would two devs be able to work at the same time but in different tables?
Good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure to answer that. It's advised not to do that.
So it seems like probably you wouldn't like this would be like if you were working in WordPress or any other thing. If you save to the database at the same time as somebody else saves, whoever saves last is probably going to win.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm actually not sure like what will be the outcome. Maybe you will get the secure your endpoint as a table as we have that. But, on a different tables, it might work without a problem. The thing is, when you add relationships, then when you start to go across tables, and especially like if you set permissions, I think just adding simple data between in two different tables or just modify things will work probably fine. The thing is, it won't be live updated, so the other dev have to like reload the console. And it can like collisions can happen because some person wants to reload the console or basically it's not advised to do that.
Okay, yeah, I think that's That's a safe answer. It's
Yeah.
just
Well, one thing,
probably don't.
though, because it's a Postgres, right? So the advice use case for like working in production, right?
Hmm.
You obviously need several people to work on database. So basically, you don't work through console. You just work on an actual database. Your DBA does stuff on database, right?
Hmm.
The thing is, the engine will auto generate GraphQL over existing database too. So if you just add a new table
Hmm.
just to a Postgres without adding it through the console, it will still generate queries and mutations subscriptions.
Hmm.
So you can simply work from pgadmin to add data and manipulate data there, and
Yeah.
use the console mostly for like permissions, connecting between stuff, and stuff like that. So if you need to work directly on the data, then probably you go just like through Postgres or something like that. And
Okay.
actually, it brings me to one important thing. If you go to data tab for a second,
To the
just
data
go to
tab.
data tab. You see that SQL, like SQL on the left side? Yeah.
Hmm.
If you click on that, you actually can write your custom SQL.
Oh,
And the cool part, if you create a view or if you create a function,
can I still
then
do
you
this?
will be able basically to let's just create a view, for example. Yes, and
Creative.
it will
Oh my
execute, will
God,
return.
I can't believe I just remembered how to write a SQL statement.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me where was the view button? I don't see it.
Yeah, the idea is if you create a view, like a SQL view, right? So you will do like create view and stuff like that.
I've never done this. You're gonna have to walk me through the syntax.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't remember.
All right, let's
remember
look it
that,
up.
if I remember correctly, is create view view name as something,
Create
and
view.
then select. Yeah, it's been a while.
Where's okay. Create
Yeah,
view
yeah, view as
as.
and then select.
Okay. So if I do testing as
Is
select.
select from start from, yeah, everything from posts basically.
Okay. And if I run this,
You see you have a testing on the left side.
oh, fascinating. So
Now the cool part, if
we
you
could
go
pull
to
extra stuff out.
graphical,
Okay.
you will have it tracked into, if you go to query, you will see a testing query.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And you can create SQL functions with mutations. So it's also like a really cool thing. Like it will actually, if you create SQL function, it will generate mutation for you.
Yeah. That's pretty slick. I have like it's been literally years since I've done any kind of DB work.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what's possible. Like the last stuff that I was doing was just writing like MySQL statements. So this is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, the cool part, you can actually tell your you see you have like analyze button here in graphical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one won't give you like anything, but if you query, let's try query something. Just query posts and
We'll
with content or
do
something.
content.
Yeah. So
Uh-oh.
click on
Oh, that's right, because we
analyze
didn't add
button.
any content. That's right.
Yeah. So actually,
Oh, fascinating.
yeah, actually the engine compiles instead of just connecting to a database and stuff like that. Well, it still connects, but what it does, it compiles to SQL query. Like instead of just doing your custom resolver, it basically
Mm-hmm.
compile your GraphQL query to SQL only for queries, right? And
Yeah.
executes them on the database. So you can, for example, copy this and send to your DBA and I'll ask, you know what, like I'm not sure if it's performant enough for my use case, right? And he'll probably tell you, okay, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
he will probably tell you, okay, if it's not performant enough, let's create a bunch of views. Let's like do like DBA stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
because you can track these views, you can add these as like tracked view and then query this view instead of querying the actual
Mm-hmm.
post table or something.
Man, that is intense. I haven't looked at.
Yeah.
Whew. This makes me happy that we have GraphQL. Um, all right, so I'm glad that the folks at Hasura did this, so I don't have to.
Yeah.
And then another question is, as we go through building this, are we gonna do error handling as well? Just because somebody was asking if we're gonna take care of that.
um, you mean like I think we won't have time today to do like error handling, but
So
what we will
the
actually.
default though, so if I like just do a bad, let's do an insert posts, and
You have a default error with a very descriptive.
so
Yeah,
let's
just run it as it is. Just run it like that.
if I try to add like nonsense data, or I guess I should do something. Return the ID. It gives you an errors object at the top, and that errors
Yeah,
object is going to tell you kind of what happened. So it'll let you know
yeah,
where things went wrong.
yeah. That's right.
But yeah, so typically speaking, you could just look in your app for if there's an array, then you can read into that and figure out what actually went wrong.
Yeah, and you will have a bunch of codes for different error handlings. So you will have like validation failed or type wrong and stuff like that. So you can basically um, put the error boundaries or something like that and treat that accordingly.
Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna just jump into the Gatsby side
Yeah.
of things. I'm using the Hello World starter to give us just a bare repo, which means it's not gonna look pretty, but there's not gonna be a lot of boilerplate either. And let's see here. So I've got just the very basics of Gatsby being installed. It should take a second. Computer always runs nice and slow when I'm trying to stream, so makes these look even slower. Come on. All right. So we are sitting at a clean branch, and I have already opened it over here so that we can kind of take a look at what's in here. So what we've got is right now the Hello World starter. Got nothing in it except this very simple Hello World React component. So what do we need to do here? Is there a source
I
plugin
think
for?
Yeah, I think we need Gatsby source plugin to be able to like query our posts for on a build time.
Okay, and so is this? Do we use this or do we use the
No,
Postgres
just
or?
regular Gatsby source plugin. Gatsby source GraphQL.
Oh, Gatsby source GraphQL. Okay,
Yeah.
so Gatsby source GraphQL, and we've got it here. So the trick is going to be to just run this. And once we've got this installed, I'm going to go in and configure it, which I can start doing now. We're going to create a Gatsby config.js. I'm going to delete this yarn lock because I'm using npm. And I'm going to have to remember not to let my muscle memory do yarn. Okay, so we're going to do plugins, and in here we're going to do resolve for Gatsby source GraphQL, and for
Yeah.
options we need to look at the docs.
Yeah.
So
Let's do type name, Hasura, field name.
Hasura, field
Field name will
name.
be like posts or something.
Well, wouldn't
No,
it?
not post actually. Blog.
Yeah, we can do that, and then the
We need to
URL
create a link.
is going to be.
No, we actually need to create a link because we need to pass headers, right? We need to pass authentication header.
Oh,
So
we're doing it straight
basically,
up like
yeah,
this.
yeah, this one, yeah.
I understand. Okay, so let's
So
grab
we
that.
also need to install a Apollo link HTTP.
Okay, so
And
let's do this. So I need create HTTP link, which is going to
Yeah.
come out of
You can just install Apollo Boost,
Apollo
and then you'll
Boost.
have everything.
Okay, so npm install Apollo Boost. And I don't think I need to do that anymore, but I'm going to do it just in case. Okay. And then I need to pull in the isomorphic fetch too, right?
Yeah. But not here. We need to basically create Gatsby
Well,
browser and Gatsby SSR for
isn't
that
it
one.
isn't it asking me to pass this in? Or
It can be, yeah, it can be isomorphic fetch. It can be also node fetch, actually, because it's Gatsby config, right? So
yeah, okay. I'm just gonna pull it in because we're gonna use it elsewhere, and
yeah,
we'll just use the same fetch everywhere. And what isomorphic fetch does is it polyfills between the browser and Node so that you can use the same fetch function without worrying about it failing in server-side rendering or working in one environment and not in the other. Okay, so that means I need to then come back over here, and I'm going to get fetch from isomorphic fetch, and I'm going to get create HTTP link, and that is Apollo Boost. And then is it create HTTP link like that? No, that's not the one I wanted. HTTP link. I don't actually
yeah,
remember if that's the way that that works, but we can give it a shot and see. And then I need to create.
yeah. So in headers, basically, we had this header. It's Hasura admin secret, right? Yeah, this is the link.
So I'm going to set this here. And then I need to set this to be, we're going to call it the same thing that Hasura told us to call it. So I'm going to pull this off screen so that I can see that token again.
Yeah. Well,
So
actually, we can use it as admin secret, or we can use it as Hasura access key. Both will work.
Hasura access
So
key,
you,
is
you
there,
you don't pass authorization as bearer, basically.
okay, is
So
there something that I need to do differently? Is there a key, or do I use
yeah.
the,
So like in the key, you see there's a X Hasura admin secret, right?
right?
So if you go back to your create HTTP link, yeah. So in headers, the name will be X Hasura dash access key or admin secret. Both will work.
Am I looking at the wrong
Okay?
one? And then the admin secret is going to be the one that,
Yeah.
okay. And so that's not a bearer token. It's just a regular old secret.
No.
So I'm going to save that.
Yeah.
And
Just
then,
for our setup, obviously, when we like at some point when you do like authentication, it will be a bearer token, but it will be like Hasura supports various types of authentication. You can do JWT, you can do like stuff with like with Cognito, custom claims, of zero, like your custom of anything literally.
and so what we want to do here is you're going to create a .env file with your admin secret. I am not going to show that because clearly you in the audience cannot be trusted. So, so I'm going to do this off screen. I'm going to create a copy of the .env to just a regular .env file, and you'll see that pop in. And then I'm going to just edit that real quick, and I believe that's what it was. Yep, that's right. Okay, so I'm gonna save this. And now I've got a .env file set up, which means that in here I can require .env and run a config. And that means that we'll have this in our, it'll be available to us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that lower. So I believe now we don't need that plugin option. We've got fetch.
Yeah.
And we've got everything set up. So let's run this. Bring this back over. And now I'm going to run Gatsby develop.
We do have like pages and stuff in this.
Whoopsies. What did I do?
Expected
bad.
so yeah, 22nd line. No, go down.
There we go. All right, I was missing a curly brace. Okay, try that one more time.
So we have pages
oh, come on.
set up, right? Okay, what's wrong?
Create HTTP link is not a function. Okay, I imported it wrong, so I need to actually look this up now.
You just created. Yeah, just go back. I will walk you through.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's create HTTP link from. It's from Apollo Link HTTP, not from Apollo Boost.
But I didn't install Apollo Link HTTP.
Yeah, but Apollo Boost installed it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
let's try that again. No,
it's not. Probably it's not.
Okay, so Apollo Boost.
Yeah, so just install Apollo Link HTTP separate than that.
Okay.
I was pretty sure it installed that, but I guess it's like muscle memory. When I write it, I kind of install automatically.
Apollo Link HTTP?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what I'm including.
And it's a named import, so.
A named import. Okay, that would also be part of what I was doing.
And you included default. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna get there. All right. We got it. Let's run this again. That's actually the first time I've ever set up an HTTP link inside of the Gatsby GraphQL setup. So let's jump in here. And what we should have now, assuming all went well, we should have a blog.
Yeah.
And under blog, I should be able to do posts. And under posts, I should be able to do title. And that gives us our post from Hasura. So that's pretty exciting that just works.
Yeah. So what we can do right now is basically, yeah, we can create these pages, like post page. Yeah, this router has simple pages set up. If you go to yeah, okay. So our index page, basically, it's just hello world. So instead of let's export the query.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. So we're going to export query. That's going to use GraphQL from Gatsby. So we're going to need to import that from Gatsby. And then in here, we can do what we just did out here.
It's blog, yeah, this one.
And we need the content and the author, first name, last name. And I don't think we ever set up the relationship for comments, did we? Let's maybe get this part running first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did not.
Okay, so this is going to
get. But let's bring this data first, and then we'll deal with comments.
All right, so we're going to have, let's just do a div. We'll add a little bit of style to make it like readable. And we'll do this and auto, and we'll make the width, I guess the max width. No, we'll just do the width. This is, I think, everybody's favorite part of my stream is watching me write CSS. Let's do 550. And that's
actually there is like a CSS minimalist framework, like that I typically use for this type of things.
Yeah,
Um,
I should absolutely do that, and I definitely have not. Posts, and then we'll do a map, and that'll give us a post. And in here we can do we need to get the ID so that we've got a unique key. And we're going to do we'll just do like a article. The key is going to be the post ID, and then we'll set the post title, and I think that's will be written by post author first name, post author last name. And that should give us, let's see, post author first name and last name. And
yeah.
then for the content, I don't think we actually wrote any content. And let's just not use the content actually, because this is a preview page and we're not going to stress about it. So let's go in here and we'll go to localhost 8000 and we get our post.
Okay.
So let's maybe create
Cool.
a couple more, or one more at least.
We can do it from UI, but here we're dealing with forms. But we can, and just yeah. Then we need to wrap it with a poll provider and do it like more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
let's maybe save that just for the comments, because I think it'll get a little,
Yeah.
especially if we're going to finish this in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So we'll just create the row manually. We're going to create a title of another post. The author ID that we want is, let's see, we're going
To
to
go to
grab
authors.
authors. Let's grab
And
this.
if we're already here, let's set up relationships for posts and comments.
Okay. So we're going to insert
Let's
a row.
go to relationships.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to create. So yeah.
Let's do this. Inserted. Okay. So we've got our row. Let's go to our relationships and let's add another one. Comments.
I've suggested the relationships. So you see, I haven't set up any foreign key or something, but because you set from comments, you set post ID as a foreign key to post, you will have it suggested.
Yeah,
relationships. Yeah.
That's really nice. Okay, so let's do that, and that should give us what we need. And then I guess actually this is a good excuse for us to use the comments aggregate, wouldn't it be? Or like the comments. Is there a...
Yeah, we want the number of comments, right?
Yeah, and we don't have that set up, but I guess we could do, well, how would we want to do that?
Oh, we can actually do it here. So let's do, instead of comments, if we do, yeah, we need it. We actually need this as a separate query.
Can we set that up as a, let's see, I'm going to start closing tabs because
yeah, we can. I think so. Let's try that actually. So you have add relationships manually. So if you click on that, we have an array, right?
Well, we want the count, right? So we want the number of comments. So would it be an object?
Yeah.
Okay, so the configuration is going to be comment count. Comments. Can we get the count? No.
No, I think it won't get us the aggregation. We need to
we would need to
separate
create
query.
a view or something, wouldn't we? Okay, maybe
we can create a view, but we can actually have the we can create a view, but then we count in a SQL basically, and then we can add that as a table as manual relationships. But yeah, I think it's too complex for now.
Yeah, a little out of scope for what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's.
But we can query. We can do another query here. We can pull comments and we can pull comments aggregate. So under blog.
Oh, I'm gonna write it in graphical so that we get the autocomplete.
So we can,
Oh, nope. It's
no,
under
it's not
posts,
here. Yeah,
comments aggregate,
comments aggregate.
and then we
And we'll
get
get aggregate
count.
and count.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
will
And
give us,
maybe rename comments aggregate to something like more readable, I guess. Yeah.
okay, so now the only catch here is it shows me one, but it doesn't seem to be limited by post. It's just like total comments in the table.
Yeah. If you want to, okay. I got it. So if you want to get the specific comments for like specific posts, basically what you can do, you can, basically these comments will be, it will be the dynamic subscriptions anyways, right? So for every post, we basically have, instead of querying all posts, we can query post by primary key. And then inside post, we have a comment. It's still not aggregate. Okay.
Yeah, let's not fixate on that. It's just that's something that we would like to
No,
fix, but
actually, we can do it with comments aggregate and where close, basically. Yeah,
okay.
when we get into the post, for example, we'll get the post ID, right?
Yeah.
And then we go comments aggregate. So if you try to do comments aggregate here, no, not here, on the like higher level, under blog, comments aggregate, and you have where close. So you can basically query by post ID.
Right. So we would put the post ID in there.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that will get you the actual count for post comments.
Okay. Cool. And then on the post, we should have comments, but
Yeah,
I
we have.
am getting. It doesn't look like the remote schema has updated here. So let me do a
Because we need to
refresh.
rebuild.
Yeah, I stopped and started it. I think I might have just not quite gotten the. Yeah, let me stop. Let me do a.
Made the cache?
Yeah, remove
Yeah.
the cache and let's start it again. Comments is a subfield, so now it's actually working. And that's what we wanted. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. All right. So that's that's great. That's kind of what we wanted, and it's showing us our post and the comments. So here in the front post, we have just a list of what should be posts. And then if we want to make those posts accessible on their own pages, we are going to do not there. I'm going to set it up down here, a Gatsby node.js. Inside of this, we're going to export create pages. Create pages is a function. It's going to accept some actions. One of the actions it's going to give us is create page. And in addition to create page, it's also going to give us a GraphQL helper function. So let me collapse this down so we can see what's going on. I'm going to make this async so we don't have to write promises. Sorry, that async needs to go back here. Okay, and then I have a function, and in my function, I am going to do, the result is going to be the awaited value of this GraphQL, and the query that I want to send is going to be very similar to this one that we wrote out here, except I don't need the title in the comments, or I'm just going to get the title, and I'm going to build a slug out of these titles for the sake of easy linking. That should give us that, and then I'm going to set up a to-do for error handling, and then, assuming that worked, we're going to do posts equals result.blog.posts, and then we can do a post for each, get a post, and down in here we can do a create page, and we're going to send a path, which is the path that we want the site to pick up. We're going to set a component, which we will have to create here in a second, and then we're going to set context. And the context we're going to set, we should include the ID, because then we can query by the post ID.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe what I'll do, actually, just in the sake of not having to write a helper function or import another library, is I'm going to just use the post ID as its path. So these are going to be really ugly URLs, but it saves it helps us get this part done without having to write helper functions. So let me create a template for this post, and that's going to have React. We're going to import React from React. We're going to export, or we're going to need a query, which we're going to have to write, and then we're going to export a component. The query, let's get GraphQL from Gatsby, and the query that we want to write is going to include a query variable, which is going to be that ID that we got from the context here. So we want this ID, and then we're going to use that.
It's UUID though, like the type.
Oh, is that the type?
Yeah.
Fascinating. I didn't realize that it would pick that up. Oh, Hasura UUID. I need to make that even more. All right, so that's going to be Hasura UUID. Okay, and then I'm going to make a query for blog post. What do I do if I have
post by
PK? Post plural. And then the ID is going to be equal, no? Or it's just this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me go grab one of these so that we post, browse rows, let's edit it, let's grab this, come back out here, toss it in, and we should be able to get the title, author, and we'll do first name. So that gives us what we want, which means we can take this out and drop it in here, and then swap out this string here for our query variable. And
I think we had too much curly braces in, or I might be wrong.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we want the first name and last name, and let's start there. So that's going to give us a data prop on this component. We can do the post equals data dot blog dot, I'm going to alias that, data dot blog dot post. And so then, for just making sure that we did this right, let's JSON stringify the post. And now we've got a component ready, so we're going to require resolve that component. And we want it to be source templates post. All right, so posts, okay. So this should be a functioning page, should give us what we want. Let's run it again. Oh, it looks like somebody noticed your background finally. They asked if it's the International Space Station.
This one is different.
Okay, and so I'm just going to break this so that we get, oh no, it didn't build our pages, which means I did something wrong. Did we get an error?
Yeah, we had this.
Cannot read property posts.
Can't read property posts.
Okay, so I broke a thing.
Was the data for some reason getting as empty? That's what's happening.
Or let's log result. See what happened. Oh, I already know what I did wrong. There's a data prop that I didn't include. So we get the result back and it's data,
Mm-hmm.
and then inside of that, so data.blog.post, we'll fix that. So let's stop and start it again. Okay, pulled things in, it logged what we expected, but we didn't get any errors, which means when we come over here, now we have our posts, and the posts are loading the data that we pulled in. So let's do a very quick. Let's grab the comments, and the comment that we're going to pull is just the content.
So with comments, there is like a controversial part, right? So when we get these comments on build time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can get them on build time and then add subscriptions and change them in real time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the controversial part is we will have, well, maybe it's fine for this demo because we will have a flick in UI because we will have like comments that, let's say we have two comments and in build time,
Mm-hmm.
and user added like 10 comments or something
Mm-hmm.
and removed several of them. And then when we will load the page, we'll have these like two comments that were brought on build time. They will
Mm-hmm.
be loaded, and then it will update automatically with like all the relevant data. So I think in a real world scenario, we will add some kind of, I don't know, maybe animations, and but we won't do it right now.
Would another option maybe be to just not server side render the comments and kind
Yeah,
of load them in?
yeah, it's another option. We can just add subscriptions and that's it. Then
Yeah,
we won't have
let's
any UI.
let's do that. So let me
Yeah.
do a quick markup of this post, and this is going to be really quick and dirty. Let me grab the same setup that we did over here, and inside we're going to do the post title. We're going to do written by post dot author dot first name and post dot author dot last name, and then we'll put the post content in here. I still don't think we have any, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna do
You have an error with like
oh, I do.
written by. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll call this comments, and I think we can just leave that empty for now.
Yeah.
So assuming all went well, we've got that set up, and I'll just add, let's do link to home, and I need to import link. Okay. So now we can go back to all posts, and then I'll do a quick change here to include. I've got the ID, so I can just do a link to post and post.id. Yep. And we'll move this over here. All right, so that is not super pretty, but it's going to do the job. So we can get in and out of these posts now, so we can kind of bounce around. So let's get into this new post. This is the one that actually has our comments, and we need to do the Apollo setup.
Yeah. So basically, what we need to do, we need to create Gatsby SSR, Gatsby browser, right?
Okay.
And create some kind of like we need to basically wrap root element and like
Right.
adjust it for being rendered either on the server or on the client, right?
Yes. So we can create a file called utils, and we'll do apollo.js. And in this, we are going to cheat a little bit and look at the Gatsby with Apollo example that I did. so that we don't have to reinvent this code. We can just kind of grab it from a place that we know works.
I can just send it to you because I have it on a recent project I did.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've got it right here, so I can just grab this.
Okay.
And let's drop this in. The URI is going to be the one that we did in the Gatsby config here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have to send that same, let's get rid of this, close this. I have to send the
Yeah,
headers
you
again.
need to send headers.
Okay. So with that, that poses a slightly different challenge because we need this environment variable to be, can I just do, let's see. I think this is not what we want because this is going to expose that in the source code. Is there like a read-only key or something?
No, it's not really. There is one, but it's more complex to set up. It won't be.
Okay, so
Uh,
let's, I guess we can do it
yeah.
like kind of quick and dirty here, and then um,
Yeah, then
we'll,
just remove it when submitting to it.
yeah, we won't, this is not what you would do for a like a browser app. You would want to do something different because it would be,
Yeah, you want like this secret key is just for like playing around. It's not a product for production app, obviously. We'll have authentication solution. You'll have JWT token, and yeah, that's how it will work in a real world scenario, right? But we're trying to make it like super fast, right? In an hour and a half. So
yeah, so we're taking a couple shortcuts here that you probably
yeah,
wouldn't want to take in a real app. And so I'm also exporting a wrap root element constant here that just takes the, so we're building an Apollo client. We set up the URI, we set up the authentication headers, which you would change to be kind of a read-only or a limited access key so that people can only post comments or read the comments as opposed to being able to do everything, which is what this would let them do.
yeah.
And then we set up that isomorphic fetch so that it works both in the Gatsby SSR and in Gatsby browser. And then we're exporting a wrap root element function so that we can reuse this in both Gatsby SSR and Gatsby browser. So then down here in Gatsby SSR, I can do export wrap root element from util or source, what is it? Source utils Apollo. And I can copy that and put the exact same thing into Gatsby browser. And the reason you do both of these is one runs at build time and one runs on the client side. We want to make sure that it's true in both cases. So that will give us our Apollo wrapper, which we should be able to see if we stop and restart. And here, once this goes, we should be able to, uh-oh. Can't resolve React Apollo. Oh, I forgot to install React Apollo.
Yeah, you need to install Reactable.
React Apollo. And did I get everything else that I needed to install? Let's go to here. React Apollo, Apollo Boost. Okay, that should be right.
So what we'll do right now, we'll add like client-side query, and then with subscriptions, we will like add a bunch of other packages because we need bunch of other dependencies, like subscription, transport, and stuff like that.
Oh, come on. All right, so this is not doing what we want it to do. So I need to get the end variable out. I think the way that I can do that is by changing this to be Gatsby Hasura. Let me try that in the in the terminal here. So
Mhm.
vim.env, and I'm going to just prefix that with Gatsby Hasura. And I believe the way that that works, let me just, if we look at end variables, what our docs say is if we prefix with Gatsby will become available in browser JavaScript.
Mhm.
So theoretically speaking, this is just going to work. Let's give this a try. And let's see, we got further, but something still went wrong. Can't read property posts of null. Gatsby node, line 15. Oh, and the reason is because I forgot to update it here. Okay, one more try. Okay, things are happening. And I'm still trying to include the .env, which would be the
I think the
problem.
best way right now it will be just like hard coding this in the file, but like not opening this file, just having it aside or something.
Okay,
Just
if
like,
this
like
if this one fails on me, I will do that. So
okay,
this should have
it actually
worked.
worked.
And if I come in here and we go and look
Ah.
at the React, do I not have the React Dev tool set up? Okay, let's just not worry about that then. So instead, what we can do is we can come out here and we can look at this this component, and this component sets up just a basic query. And so I'm
Mhm.
going to grab the query component and the GraphQL tag, which I think I need to install. So let's install that.
You can actually use hooks, but yeah, well, we probably won't have time for hooks right now, right?
Oh yeah, I would. Let's. I mean, we can. It's about the same level of effort, I think, right? Because we just have to install
Yeah,
the
even
Apollo
probably
hooks.
less because basically instead of React Apollo, you install React Apollo hooks. Yeah, this one,
Okay,
and
and is
then you
that
just use query instead of wrapping it in query. It's pretty
okay?
neat.
Let's see. So
Yeah, you just change
Apollo
the
provider.
provider to React Apollo hooks provider, and
Okay, so
actually
let's
the
get.
README is not updated because yeah.
Let's try it. I think we are going to run a little bit over today. Do you have extra time to keep rolling?
Yeah, I thought I had more time. I can like stick here for like several hours. So.
Well,
I'm
let's try it.
fine.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. But no, like this will be fun because I haven't seen the React Apollo hook stuff, so this will be good to play with.
Yeah,
So according to their docs, it sounds like we just
yeah. You
swap
do
out
React Apollo hooks,
React Apollo hooks. Okay,
and then
so
you
that
have use query that you import from there.
okay, and then in the post itself, I'm
Yeah,
going to import use
use query.
query.
Yeah.
Okay, so I still need GraphQL tag. So GraphQL tag, I think I might have already installed
Hmm.
this. And then over here, I can do
And the cool
import
part
GQL from
regarding
GraphQL.
React Apollo hooks, they added support to subscriptions. I think 2 weeks ago. So it's
Oh,
like
cool.
really good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got React Apollo hooks. And so now what I should be able to do is in here, I should be able to say comments equals use query. And in here, I'm going to do,
Actually, you won't get comments. You'll get data error loading. So
that's right. Okay. So let's set up that's going to be GQL, and that's going to be, let's just use graphical over here. I
Mhm.
want to get
Will be just comments.
Comments, and we want the content. And I think we'll just stick with
It's not
content
only
for.
comments, it's comments by primary key. So we need to add where close, yeah, here. No, not by primary key. It just comments,
Oh,
but
that's
we
right.
need to search for post ID
Post ID. And that post ID will be
equals.
equal to that value. Okay.
Yeah,
So that is
the
good enough
variable
to
that we'll use. Yeah.
start. And we're going to. And then is it a post ID?
It's Hasura UUID
Okay.
type. Actually, no, it's UUID type because like out of scope of Gatsby right now.
UUID type. That's right.
Yeah.
UUID. Okay. And then that's going to give us the content, and I'm going to make this the ID. So then I'm going to do a use query, and then is the second argument to, is there a second argument to get variables?
Yeah, you can add basically. I think they have an example over there somewhere. Yeah, it's supposed to be second. Yeah, over here.
Got it. Okay.
The same as with use mutation, basically, the second argument.
That would be post ID. Okay.
And you also need to pass suspend false because it's like an experimental thing. But so with query, you have data loading and error, right? And experimental thing with reactable hooks, yeah, it will give you data and error, and loading will be treated as fallback in suspense wrapping component. So you need to pass suspend false, yeah, like that.
So I'm passing suspend false
False,
or suspend true.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it's like under experimental section.
Got it. Suspend true. Or wait, is this with
False,
false?
because
That's
you
right.
need it without suspense.
I understand. Okay. Um, data error loading. Got it. And this
Yeah,
should.
you just need to check if it's loading or if it's error, and
Okay. So I'm going to do all that up here. Comment, or let's see. No, how do I want to do this? Let's just do it as a big gross thing. So we're going to do loading.
you can just extract it to like separate component or something.
I could do that, couldn't I? Yeah, let's do that. So I'm just going to put it up here for the sake of not getting too out of hand with our file system. And we will do the ID is what's going to come into this. And that is going to be we'll just pass in the post ID.
Yeah.
So we'll take this out, drop it in here. And the ID that we get is going to be this one, so we can put that like that. And then if loading, we will return loading. If error, we will return the error. And otherwise, we will return data.comments. So data. Oops. I need this to be a thing of some sort. So we'll do just a UL. And we will return data.comments.map. And that's going to give us an LI. It needs a key, so I need to get the comment ID. And we will do comment.id here and the comment.content inside. Come on now. All right. And then down here, I should be able to do comments with an ID of post.id. And if I have done all of this correctly, what should happen,
Yeah, supposed to work.
let's give it a shot. I broke it. Something broke. I didn't start it. Gatsby develop. Somebody else saw your spaceship.
Uh,
Okay, so now I think cannot read property comments if
okay, we
undefined
can't read comments.
because I called this data.
Yeah, because it's you use query, but the syntax is a little bit different. So it's an object destructuring, not array destructuring.
Oh, aha.
Yeah, that's weird because you're with hooks you're used to like array destructuring, right?
Okay, so we got closer, but I broke something.
Yeah,
Unexpected variables and variable values, ID. So
I
what
think
was
because you
my...
passed the actually.
So I passed in the ID. Let's log what the ID is that I'm sending in. And what we should see down here is the ID
Yeah, because you
is...
send it as an object. Yeah, okay, that's
It's
weird.
still
It's
coming in. It's coming
undefined.
in undefined. Did I, in fact, query for it? I did not. So that should solve a lot of our problems. Okay, it still didn't work. Is that because...
You send in an object. It's ID. Yeah, you need to destructure it at the in comments component.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, that would make sense. Whoops. Okay, unexpected variables. Okay, but it's still an ID. And now I'm logging it as an
So
object. So
some,
if I just log it
I think it's
straight...
ID.id. That's weird. Like you're sending.
Well, so here
Uh,
I'm getting the ID, logging it as an ID. The query, oh, that's my fault.
ah,
There we go. All right, so that's just
okay.
me being bad at GraphQL. That's
Now we need to add subscriptions, and this will be a bit challenging, but I think we'll manage. So what we need to do, we actually need to install a bunch of things. We need to install Apollo Link WebSockets. So like Apollo Link dash WS,
Apollo
Apollo dash
link.
Link dash WS.
Oh my God, link dash WS.
Yeah. And we need to install Apollo utilities.
Apollo utilities.
And we need to install, what was the name? The subscription transport WebSocket. Like subscriptions
Subscriptions.
dash transport
Transport.
dash WS.
WS. Okay, anything else?
I think that's it. No.
Okay. This is going to be an adventure because I've never used any of these three libraries.
Yeah, but you never use subscriptions because that's how you set up subscriptions basically with Apollo.
Yeah, I actually haven't set up a subscription with Apollo, so this is oh, I see
Ah,
what I did
nice.
wrong.
So it will be challenge both like using it with Apollo and using like using it with hooks, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I
Nice.
just realized what went wrong here. I did this like good
Okay. Yeah,
abstraction,
you rolled it twice.
get comments. So that's what I wanted was this. And for some reason I just like forgot how to computer there for a second.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we've got, let's see, are we installed? Everything's installed and
Hmm.
I
So
am
right
ready.
now we need to go to our Apollo.js,
Okay.
and we need to do actually a bunch of things.
Okay.
First of all, we need to, okay, we have Apollo client. We need Apollo cache, and I'm thinking it will, yeah, let's just drop the cache for now. Let's bring WebSocket link. So it will be import WebSocket link. It's a named import. No, it's a named one.
Okay. And is there capitalization that I need to be aware of?
Yeah. Capital W, web, capital S, socket, capital L, link. Yeah.
Okay.
From Apollo link WS.
Okay.
Then what we need to also bring is import get main definition with capital M, capital D.
Get main
Also
definition.
named, yeah, it's a named import also
Okay.
from Apollo utilities.
Okay.
Now, what we need to do, we need to set up our HTTP link and WebSocket link. Basically, what we want to do, we want to tell Apollo if our operation we're doing is subscription, go to WebSocket link and establish WebSocket connection. And if
Okay.
it's like query or mutation, just go to HTTP link. So
Okay.
what we'll do, we'll extract the thing that we have under Apollo client, and we'll say, yeah, into different variable. Let's say const HTTP link equals new HTTP link. We actually need to bring it up also.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to bring it from Apollo link HTTP.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that one will do. Now
Oh
for
wait,
WebSocket link, let's call it. Yeah, let's do it
that's
not
not gonna
capital,
work. Let's call it that.
lowercase.
Call this one WebSocket.
Yeah, let's create new WebSocket link, and we'll pass the same URI
Okay.
as URI, not URL.
Aha. I feel like I did this before and I lost a good
Yeah,
15 minutes trying to figure out what had gone wrong. I was like,
but
everything is
instead of
right.
HTTPS, we need to do WSS because we are using WebSocket, so it's different protocol.
Come on now. All right, WSS.
Yeah.
Same
Now
headers?
what? Yeah, same headers.
And
Now
fetch as
I
well?
never used it with Gatsby actually, so I'm not sure regarding the fetch.
I'm going
But
to
let's try
assume
with
that we do, just because my assumption is that we're probably definitely going to need that.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Now we need to basically create our splitter. So let's call it. Let's create new const. Call it link. And actually, we need to bring another thing. So let's bring split from Apollo link.
Split from
Oh,
Apollo link.
yeah.
I don't know if I have Apollo link.
Okay. Well, yeah. So we need to install it.
Apollo link. Okay, so we've got split from Apollo link.
Okay. So now our link will be basically a split function, which will get another function as first argument. This function will get, yeah, just write another named anonymous function, just an arrow function. Yeah. It will get query, destruct query from the attribute.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what we want to do, we want to do a const kind and operation destructured from
Kind, an
kind and
operation.
operation.
Whoa. Operation. Okay.
It's the structure from get main definition
Get main definition.
and pass query to it. So basically, what we do, we get the query and we understand like when you do GraphQL, right? You basically execute post request and you pass query, and you pass stringified query mutation subscription. So get main definition is utility that gives you out of this operation, it basically extracts what kind of operation and what operation was executed.
Okay.
So what we want to return, let's return, and basically this split is like a predicate. The first function is like a predicate, so it will return if basically kind equal. Just try no, no, without if, just
Oh,
return.
that's the return.
Yeah, that's return kind triple equal operation definition. Yeah, the second one. The second one, it was auto completed for you.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I
It
think
must.
when you started to, I think because
It,
you have extra blank space, just remove that, go back to equal, one space back, and one space back. Yeah,
here?
this one. Okay. Yeah, and operation equals subscription.
Okay. So
So this is
we're
the
we're
first
checking
function, the first
if
argument, sorry.
it's an operation definition and the operation is a subscription,
Yeah.
then okay.
So then we pass an argument that will basically our WebSocket link. So it will be AWS.
And if
And
not,
otherwise, yeah, it will
or
be linked.
HTTP. Right.
HTTP. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
So basically what we're saying here is we're saying that we're creating a new link that runs this check, and depending on the result of the check, either sends a WebSocket or a regular Apollo HTTP link.
That's right. So it's like a splitter, or you can think about that is like basically it's a comparator of sorts, right?
Sure. Okay.
So so you
And
need to
then
pass to Apollo client an object with a link.
like so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see if it actually will run, because I'm not sure regarding the WebSockets. If it will run, then well, good.
Gatsby develop. Okay. That's a good sign. Nope. Almost got there. Unable
Okay.
to find a native or alternative implementation for WebSocket. So are we missing a polyfill or something?
Yeah, probably because we had like for the HTTP link we had fetch passed, right? And for WebSocket we
Yes.
need some kind of also polyfill.
So we
So
should I see what happens if we don't pass this?
yeah, try that one.
Okay, same problem. So
Is it possible? So I'm not sure if it's. We can actually check if we are in a browser environment or if we are in. Uh, yeah, in node environment.
let's see here. Import WS from WS.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Ah, okay.
So I need to get
Yeah,
WS.
let's install WS.
Okay. And then I'm going to do
It's basically the same thing we did. Instead of fetch, just pass WS. We'll see.
params or client. WebSocket implementation.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing that we need to
Okay, I got what the problem is. So what we did, yeah, instead of fetch, we need to pass like this and import WebSockets.
Okay, so let's give that one more shot. Oh, come on, is that the same problem? New problem.
Um, are you sure we need to pass WebSocket as it is, or we need to structure that?
Great question.
Um,
This
no, we
says,
just pass it as it is.
okay, so let's actually look up the docs for the Apollo Link WS because I bet they tell us how to do this.
Yeah, they might. They might.
WebSocket link. They say subscriptions transport WS. So we need. Oh, I see what we did wrong. We
Okay. Yeah, we
yeah
need to new
we
subscription. Okay, it's different setup actually for the client.
yeah
Uh,
that's why you read the docs. So let's
yeah,
see. We're gonna do the client. And let's see here. We've got our WebSocket link. So let's do this. And this is our endpoint.
I think client won't
And
work because we already have this for a poll link, for a poll client.
WebSocket.
I mean the
WebSocket.
naming
Right. Client won't work. So we'll call this WebSocket
WebSocket client,
client. And then the WebSocket link is going to be, oh, but I still need to
WebSocket
send,
client, and WebSocket implementation should be passed to the subscription client.
right. And I don't know that we even need that. Let's try without it and see what happens. And then we can try
I
that
think
again
we
if it,
will for them. Yeah, we'll try without it.
okay. So this, I think, options, yeah, the options is what we want. The WebSocket implementation. Let's try it and see what explodes. You
Will
are
do.
parsing the GraphQL
Okay.
query and file. Details upon. What GraphQL query are you trying to parse?
Wait, haven't you imported WebSockets as WS and then? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yep, you are absolutely right that I double named that. So that is
Mm-hmm.
my fault. Let's try that again. Okay. Still broken. This time it's broken because
Syntax error
I.
somewhere. You need to import that. I
Oh, I
think you haven't
understand.
imported.
It is imported, but I was trying to pass it as an object, but it's actually just an argument. So
Mm-hmm.
we can pass that again. All right.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Nice.
Ooh. Okay, but this is interesting. Apollo Boost was initialized with unsupported options link. So that leads me to believe that that's
Yeah, but it's like a
probably
warning
meant.
from Apollo Boost. Basically, if you use subscriptions, you won't use Apollo Boost because Apollo Boost is like for simple setup and stuff like that. Or it's not.
WS does not. Okay,
Okay.
so actually we didn't need the WS, or it's telling us not to use the WS. So let's try one more time.
I think we need a different setup for node environment and for a browser environment. That's what we need.
Okay.
Because right now it will fail on build because we need it for node environment.
Okay. All
So
right.
what we can
So
do, we can check if it is browser, right? We have these like
yes. So if we want to do type of window equals undefined, then we will do Actually, we'll just do const WebSocket for node. Then we would do WS or null. And I'm going to call that WebSocket for node. And I believe
you have
if I fix my
extra curly brace at the top. No, yeah,
yep.
over here.
Perfect. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're saying if window is undefined, which would signify that it is not the browser, we're going to use this node WebSocket implementation. Otherwise, we're going to pass null, which I believe will trigger it to use the default implementation. So let's try that again. Show me potato salad. Yeah. All right, so that didn't explode at least. Let's give it a shot. So this began working, but we got it didn't send us back the right thing. So it like pulled back the whole.
Okay, that's
Unexpected token. So it's like sending us back a page instead of giving us the result of the query.
I think something weird with our setup. Okay, let's double check that. So we have WebSocket client.
Get comments. We run
No,
this.
here everything's fine. The problem is if we go to our Apollo, we set up something wrong because it worked previously, right?
Right. And so are you sure it's not the link thing? Like Apollo Boost, do we need to set up like did we fall outside of the Apollo Boost helper? Like do we need a custom client?
Yeah, let's bring Apollo client from Apollo client actually. Yeah, instead of I think it's already important.
All right, let's see if that works without blowing up on us. We must specify link and cache properties.
Yeah, so we need, okay, fine. We're going into full-blown solution. Yeah, let's bring in-memory cache. We need in-memory cache.
Apollo cache in memory.
Yeah, this.
Anything else?
Yeah, we try to like cut the corners and we actually cannot.
It's always the dream, right? It's just going to work the first time.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got in-memory cache. And I'm going to come back here. Where did this go? Here it is. And then.
And you pass the cache as like that.
Okay. And in our client, we have.
That's
cache,
right.
New in-memory cache. So now, if I run Gatsby develop, it's going to work, I believe. All right, so we end up here.
Yoo-hoo! Yeah.
Oh, all right. Are you wrecking the International Space Station up there?
I guess it was a comet or something.
Okay, perfect. So great. So we've got this running. Now we need to do the subscription.
Now this will be like super simple. So what we need to do, just go to our the component itself, the comment component.
Okay.
Change query to be subscription.
Here?
No, not here. Yeah, change here to use subscription.
Subscription, and I'm gonna have to change that.
Yeah, import that.
Okay.
Change subscription instead of query in GraphQL tag in GraphQL syntax. Yeah, change it to subscription.
Okay.
And I believe that's it. Okay, we have
So I screwed up the headers somewhere because it didn't find that header that I was trying to pass. So let's get back into Apollo. And I was trying to pass that where? Here? And I guess I should pass it.
Yeah, you need to pass it. I think to WebSocket client.
Oh,
So,
WebSocket client. And then the
let's
next
open
thing
up
would
the
be
docs for a second because I don't remember it right now.
WebSocket link. Yeah. We had this up here, right? URI.
Yeah, it's inside options, so it's supposed to be inside options. Now options,
Right.
yeah, reconnect through, so it's supposed to be there.
Okay, so I've set this. I'm going to stop and restart it. So what I did is I just moved the headers into the second option. I have a feeling this isn't going to work. No complaints there. What about here? Yeah, no, we're missing something. All right, so let's go back to the docs. And to send headers, Apollo, let's see. Set header. No, that's not what I want at all. I want the composing links. Maybe we can just set it globally.
I think we need to do it with middleware. Yeah, I think we need to do it with middleware.
Awesome.
So there is like set context thing. So we can set context for the for headers. And
it's not just going to let me
let me
set
try to find
headers in here, is it?
if I had it somewhere, so it will be easier than just to type everything.
No,
It's somewhere in Code Sandbox, I guess.
Let's see.
It's in a, you can look for Apollo link context. It's inside. It's there.
Apollo link context.
Yeah.
Apollo client.
It's not for the it's for WebSocket link, and it's a little bit different. But just a second.
Context. Okay.
So I'm trying to find easier solution actually, because I don't want us to write middleware right now. It's possible to write, use this set context and set headers, but
right. And then that gets, how the hell does this get added to the, how do you actually add it to the link?
you basically do like the link concat and then pass it there. But I think I have it already somewhere. Just a second.
There's a question from Joss DZ asking if it's good to use REST 2 instead of GraphQL. I mean, REST and GraphQL are tools to solve a similar but kind of different thing. REST is great if you're doing kind of simple data access or if you've got a large legacy REST system.
Yeah, it's more legacy, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like GraphQL, like, so the thing about GraphQL is that it in a lot of cases actually wraps REST and adds extra functionality on top of it. So GraphQL is kind of like an evolution for anybody who's watching who's old enough to remember things like SOAP. It's kind of the same thing. Like SOAP was a great way to get data, and then REST was invented, and it was like a kind of a more usable way of getting data comparatively because SOAP had a lot of ceremony and like requirements. And then GraphQL just kind of takes this complexity of REST, which was that you had to make a lot of requests to a lot of different databases and then collate that data somehow. GraphQL just does the collation for you so that you get those relationships. So yeah, I think like ultimately it's fine if you want to use REST. It's not going to be the end of the world, or mark you for it's not like a mark of shame or anything. It's just GraphQL solves a couple problems more elegantly. Yeah, we got a soap with a vomit emoji in the chat, which a couple of my very early projects were using soap, and I remember being just completely befuddled by the whole process. Okay, were you able to find the where the
Yeah, I
business
think
headers?
so. Just a second. I'm close. I think it's somewhere here.
Let's see. Go to. Oops. Forgot to disable all my notifications.
Just a second. Okay, I figured this out. Yeah, we forgetting one key. So it's like we have in options we have reconnect as true, right? And then we pass headers. Instead of headers, we need to pass connection params.
Connection params.
Yeah, and it will be a function that will
Function.
basically, no, it will be a function that will return an object that will have headers.
Got it. So we can just do this, and then I'll take my headers back out of here
Yeah.
and put it in here. Okay, so let's give that a shot. We'll stop and start.
If it won't work, then we'll just do middleware.
Okay. There we go. All right, so now
Okay.
we've got this post
Let's
running.
try this.
Let's add something special. So we're gonna do here. I'm gonna split this out and make it smaller. All right, so now we've got here. I'm going to do mutation to insert a comment. And the thing that I
I
forgot to
think
do is get this.
you already did that, so you can click on history and you will see that.
Insert comments.
Yeah.
Make sure the post ID lines up. Okay. And let's do another comment, and let's just run it. There we go.
Yeah.
Let's run it again. Oh my goodness.
Cool.
So that's pretty slick. I mean, that like obviously we hit a couple snags there trying to get the WebSocket stuff set up, but like knowing that this is possible, and ultimately it's like 50 lines of code
Yeah.
to get this whole WebSocket thing going.
And I mean,
It's a
it was a
little.
challenge for both of us, right? Because like I had never used WebSockets with Gatsby. You never used WebSocket like subscriptions, so yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
this is slick. Okay, so I think this is probably a good place to call it before we dig ourselves another hole.
that's right.
But what we should do is let's sync after this and figure out how to secure that token so that we can release this code.
Yeah. I think what we can do, actually, we can schedule this at some point. We can do like other stream with more like in-depth authentication and business logic.
Okay.
Maybe continue from where we ended, just adding, I don't know, like filtering, bad walls filter using serverless functions and authorization with with like I don't know, Cognito, for example, and
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, let's for the immediate future, let's just make sure that we can ship something that people
yeah,
can use that
yeah.
has
I
the
mean, for
authentication
the
in
like
place, and
upcoming months or
yeah.
something.
But in the meantime, people can follow you on Twitter. You are Vladimir Novik.
Yeah, that's me.
Anything else
That's
that people
my
should check
cool
out?
avatar from React Amsterdam last year.
This is a really cool avatar. I feel
Yeah,
like that was very cool of them to do that.
yeah.
Awesome. Anything else that people should check out or know before we wrap up?
Yeah, well, the website hasura.io, right? So just like go there, check it out. We showed how to run it on Heroku, but as you can see, you can run it in Docker, on Digital Ocean, on Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform.
That was
Basically,
a pop quiz
anything
to
that
see if you
can
knew
run
all the
Docker.
logos.
Yeah. Yeah, basically anywhere where you can run Docker, you can run the engine. Now, like it's not limited to like creating from scratch. So what you can actually do is pretty easy to just get into docs, getting started. When you click on get started with Docker, for example, click on that for a second.
Okay.
So yeah, so you have two versions you can run with Docker Compose, and then you will have both Postgres and Docker container locally on your machine. But sometimes you want to connect to like external database, something like that. So you can like everything is described here in the docs how to do that. And yeah, so that's for that. If you have questions, there is Hasura Discord channel on the homepage. There is a link, so feel free to get there and ask questions. And yeah, you can click on join Discord. I also run a radio, like a podcast, Three Factor Radio, and actually, I we just released the episode. So when we'll finish stream, I will tweet about the fact I released the episode with you, Jason. So
Oh, cool.
the
Very cool.
one we recorded. Yeah,
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Well,
yeah,
great. So
this was
yeah,
great.
definitely go check out this community tab. Go go join the Discord. Follow that
Yeah,
Three Factor Radio. That was a lot of fun to do.
yeah,
And yeah, please give Hasura a try. That was a lot of fun. And we'll post the code a little bit later once we work out that token issue, so that people aren't posting high powered tokens in their demos. But
yeah,
yeah, so that'll come up a little bit later. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us tonight or this morning. God, what time zone am
yeah.
I operating in?
It's like 8 p.m. for me, and
Oh, all right. I'm in your time zone
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Cool.
It's like
Thank you very
evening
much,
morning, right?
everybody. And we will see you next time. Next up on the stream, we are going to do a Auth Zero deep dive with Otto Kukic, I think is how you say that name, and I really apologize if it's not. He's coming over from Auth Zero to teach us how to do authentication in Gatsby apps. So thanks again, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank